What's good, everyone? This is Dev the Coolest.
This is Ray Bay.
And this is JB.
Come on, JB with the deep voice.
Listen, give it
and this is SlickTalk. SlickTalk is fun.
Yay.
With a hashtag.
With that hashtag.
And today we're talking about dating.
Dating, relationships, things like that. The whole spectrum of things.
DMs, falling into DMs.
Yeah,
having too many options. If it's a good or bad.
Dating in 2018 is just complex as fuck.
I feel like each year it gets worse.
But 2 out of 3 of us are single. One of us is in a relationship. But I think the first question would be to you, Ray Bay. What did you think of relationships and dating before you got in a relationship?
Dating was very experimental for me. I think my early, experience with dating was I was very naive, but I learned very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, after that first little, I wouldn't say heartbreak, but after that first hurt, I developed more of a defensive way. And I just stopped going with what people say and I followed their actions.
I mean, I guess I've been single for a while now, happily single, living my best life. And it's not because I don't like the aspect of relationships or dating. I actually feel like once I'm in a relationship, it's so beautiful. I've mostly been single because I think it's important to truly know oneself and know what you're looking for in a person. In order for a relationship to sustain outside of the communication and the trust and the honesty, you have to truly know yourself and truly know what you're looking for in a person. And there's layers to that. It goes very deep. It's not surface. You can say, oh, I want a person to have this and I want a person to look like this. No, it's even deeper than that. The question that you should be asking yourself is, how do you want a person to respond during tragedy? If you're at your lowest point, how do you want that person to step up to the plate? You know what I'm saying? Because it's those moments when your back is against the wall and you're stressed out that you need that person to step up to the plate.
Also, I mean, with that, something that I recognize is not ignoring the red flags. I wasn't in a relationship, but I was in a situationship that could have been perceived as a relationship because of how we went through everything, but we never established it as a relationship. But we were in that situationship for 2 years. So, which is that's a lifetime.
Oh, Lord.
Could have been a common law marriage.
Oh, Lord. But anyway, right. We could have moved in today. But not ignoring those red flags and just recognizing, like, your gut. Don't ignore your gut. When your gut is telling you something is wrong or something is not for you, listen to that within yourself, have the conversation within yourself and be like, okay, well, is this insecurities or is this my intuition? Because that person had a lot of insecurities that they masked as their intuition. And in turn, it made them do some things that ultimately hurt me while I was being very faithful and ignoring my actual intuition because I'm very secure in who I am and the table that I bring.
I mean, from that experience alone, has it deterred you from wanting to step out and still date or, possibly be in a relationship anytime soon?
It has not deterred me because I don't hold my past against my present. You
That's
know?
beautiful.
Because I would never hold what another fuck nigga did.
Come on, fuck nigga.
Absolutely.
to a beautiful
Capital
person that's in my life now. You know, I'm open to dating now, but I think with that this whole Instagram and Facebook
DMs
messaging, DM, right? Like that is. I think that adds it could be a good thing, but it also adds like to dating as well because it's there's thousands of people out there that you could be DMing. And
that's true.
What about, in a sidebar, so Ray, with you, like, my question to you would be, like, being that you are in a relationship, is there anything that you miss about, like, just dating in general or kind of, like, being single? Because I'm always interested. Obviously there's ups and downs in a relationship. Everything isn't always rosy. But I'm always interested in, like, the perspective of someone that's in a relationship, what they, specifically kind of miss, from being, from being single.
You know what? For the most part, no. But certain things I kind of figured out is that your time with yourself, remembering that you are an individual still in this relationship. I had so much time on my hand to do things that I really, really wanted to do, like going to the gym, like develop a lot of art pieces, or just, be able to sit with your thoughts for a minute, But being in a relationship, sometimes you can start doing those things and, bae try to get your attention for something completely, like, it just messes with your mind. Like, what was I doing? Like, I can't get back into that space, that creative space. As the dating and meeting new people, I don't necessarily like to get to know a lot of people. I like close friendships. I like tight-knit friendships. Like, I'll meet people out, but I won't invest into it because I just know that I don't have that energy.
Yeah. So how do you handle people hitting up them DMs, Ray?
I let them know right away. Hey, right away.
What you be saying?
I'm like, hey, I am in a committed relationship.
So I'm at let's role play. So
I hit you up right now. I love me some role play.
I hit you up right now in the DM, and obviously we're very, very close friends, so that would never happen. I hit you up in the DM where I'm like, hey, how's it going? I see you have, a nice laugh. I see I've been following you on Instagram.
You're cute.
You're not even going that far, just keeping stuff surface.
I go straight to the point.
But because there's some sneaky people. Hold on, listen. There's some sneaky niggas out there that try to hit your DM on some friend trying to get to know you as a friend type of thing, and then their ulterior motives is really trying to fuck around.
Right.
So what if somebody just hit you on some let's go grab coffee, let's just go hang out, or whatever the case may be. How would you handle some situation like that?
It's funny that has happened to me a lot. I mean, I'm not trying to say hey, I'm popping like that, but
you are, child.
Popping.
But from everything, I used to post, my body on Instagram, and I had that whole, because I was very proud of my gains and what I was doing, and it has to be on a platonic level. At first, I would check with bae, hey, bae, this person hit me up to have coffee. It has to be a reason. Are we discussing business, or hey, I just moved to town, or you're somebody I used to follow and talk to for 2 years. Can we be friends? That's different from somebody just fresh hitting me up.
Well, that's interesting because when I was in a relationship, I was very committed to him, or in a situation, I was very committed to him, and I was just very checking in with him all the time and letting him know I'm going to this club tonight. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But now it's I have the freedom to just do it. I mean, that's an amazing thing about being single.
Well, I mean, depending on who you ask, because you can ask some people to be like, "Oh, I like checking in with my man and telling him know that I'm going to do this." Me personally, I don't like.
Because I'd be like, "Look, well, sis, you may need to go to a therapist."
Okay,
I'm gonna be honest. That is one of the things I had to get used to, and it's something I also realize how it affects them.
Yeah,
you gotta always think about the other person.
And that is why I do it. It's not necessarily you try, bae is trying to make sure I'm not out with some dude or, fuck around or anything like that. It's more so, hey, I wanted to plan something. I didn't know if you were available at this time. Or I wanted to surprise you with something. Let's go to a restaurant or the movies. I just want to make sure that you were available.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I do check in. And I'm a very honest person. And this is the person that I share space with. So I want to make sure that you know what I am up to.
Absolutely.
Well, upfront and honest.
Yeah, and it's interesting to say that because now I feel that in the age of how we say dating technologically or technical, I don't know, whatever, dating apps and shit.
Yeah.
Communication is kind of something that's not really there anymore.
Which is crazy because these are platforms that you communicate on.
And then once you start dating, it's and this is generalizing, obviously, but it's just the communication is lost, the communication aspect. It's what do you want? Say what you mean what you say, type of thing.
Well, I think it goes, it's layers. It goes deeper to us kind of having these behind the screen relationships with everyone and kind of giving away as much as we would like people to see on the outside. But when it comes to having these one-on-one, in-person kind of relationships, it's kind of lacking because we are so caught up in, the technological kind of aspect that you were speaking of, like talking behind the screen. You know, obviously talking behind the screen and talking in person is way different. You know, so it's like has the social media days kind of like blinded us and made us forget on how to actually have one-on-one conversations and communicating and everything like that.
And just being open and saying like there's something missing now where people don't say where they, how they feel because they feel like they have so many options. Like they don't communicate that they're hurt because they're like, well, I can get back on Instagram and look at my DMs and somebody else will fulfill this hurt or fix it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's an issue that we're facing nowadays.
I mean, that's one of the things that turns me off about the apps in the first place is that I can remember whenever I probably downloaded an app, it was for a short time because I don't think I've met 2 people that I've actually met friends on an app, and it's on a specific app.
What specific app? Call them by their name.
Wait, I'm trying to.
Was it Jack, Grindr, Tinder?
No. Tinder when it first had the gay option.
Okay.
And then OkCupid.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
I know. I'm a grandpa.
I'm a grandpa.
That's why I went to Christian Mingle.
Right. That's where I met my 2-year thing.
And it's funny,
Christian Mingle?
We met on Christian Mingle, Jack.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a Muslim. No shade to Muslims.
No. Right.
No,
he ain't shit. That's what he is.
For real.
That's a religion?
That's where I made 2 friends.
Come on,
and that we still message each other, but we are very clear that it is on platonic level. And one of my friends actually moved out here, and we hang out, But that's something I'm also very open with Bay about, just how I met people. But to answer your initial question, like what if I miss what I miss out of being single, it's like the thing is I have the same abilities as I was single than be in a relationship from what I want. It's just my mindset had to like turn that on because relationship takes a lot of energy and sometimes you feel like it takes a lot of creative energy out of you. So when I want to do something that feeds my soul for myself, just maybe having that little interruption or maybe having like somebody else in your space kind of like stops you from doing that. But I mean, I can just put in my headphones and just
and you've learned, I mean, over time, I mean, the kind of person you are, you've learned how to balance and how to maintain that. And that's very important. Yeah, it's very, very important.
And that's the most frustrating part about it. It's a balance, but you have to be patient and it'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm patient. I know for a fact that in my near future, I am going to find the love of my life, and we are going to be happily in a relationship, happily get married, and happily have kids.
Wait.
And move forward that way. Because I mean, I'm living my life. I'm happily single and living my best life. Living your best life. Isn't like Cardi B?
Oh, turn all my L's into lessons. I'm living my best life.
Who's that?
Cardi B and Chance the Rapper.
All I know is that she has a song like that. I didn't know the lyrics and everything. You getting all technical. I don't care about that too.
I'm like, wait, bloopity, got.
You already know.
So I'm very good at ghosting. I'm a ghost king, which is not a good thing.
Can we elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Ghosting is when you just disappear. Like you're talking to somebody and something happens and it kind of just fizzles out and you just disappear. You just stop responding to texts.
Why?
On both ends. Why would I do that?
I mean, now that we know what ghosting means.
Why would I do that? There were a few cases. If I find out that they're strictly a bottom or strictly a top, I would ghost. It's like, well, I want some of both, Wow. You gotta get me on everything. You could be a verse top or a verse bottom, but if you're strictly one or the other, it's like, okay, well, that's not going to work.
What if they're good at what they're strictly at?
I can't have one thing for the rest of my life.
But what if it's just a hookup?
If it's just a hookup, then... Nah.
Exactly.
No, if it's just a hookup, exactly what?
His standards are high, okay? He wants it all.
No, I just want it, even if it's a
everything.
Hookup. We're going to flip-flop as a hookup. Like,
okay.
It's still going, but I'm sorry. Hi, parents. But I'm like that, or if it's just like the conversation is dead or dry, like,
ooh, yeah.
There's just things that just like, I'm not sexually attracted to you. Like, I know this sounds shallow, but as I said, I'm approaching my 30s, and I have no time to be like, I'm exiting my 20s. The 20s is definitely the time to be like, dibbling, dabbling, finding out what you like. But as I'm exiting these 20s, I'm like, I know what I want, and if you're not giving me that, I guess on the flip side, it would be more respectful to actually like talk to the person and say, hey,
that's what I was about to ask. Like, why not just mention it to the person?
Exactly.
Because you don't like confrontation.
I don't care for confrontation, one, but I also don't like to hurt people's feelings. Yeah. But I think I do know, because if she was on the other foot, I would respect the person more if they were to say something.
And I think it would be worse. It would be hurt their feelings worse by just ghosting.
In my ghosting experiences, though, it's like reciprocated.
Oh, okay.
Like they ghost too. Like if I ghost, like they realize, like, okay, well, then they'll just move on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I know personally, if somebody like ghosted me and like, I would feel a certain type of way. Like obviously I would ghost you and be like, okay, well, fuck it, we don't have to chill, or I don't have to talk to you. But at the same time, be like, so what was especially if I was feeling the person,
right? Like what happened?
I'd be like, so what? I'm always curious. I'm like, so what happened? And mostly what I kind of like tell myself to make me feel better is that it's just a generation, it's just a time that we live in. People aren't consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas, these bitches aren't consistent. They'll fuck around with you for a time period, and then when they get bored or when they find something else that they're interested in, they'll move on. So, I mean, the explanations that you said on why you ghost make sense. But there's some people out there that literally are like, okay, so I'm just over this. I don't want to do it no more. I thought it was for me. It's not for me, so I'm going to ghost. And it's, the bottom line is that it's kind of like inconsiderate. Like just be open on it. You feel like you don't hurt the person's feelings, you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, or you don't want to have confrontation, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then it's something that you subjected yourself to when you started talking to this person, So
then with that, Ray, do you have any, because I feel like
I'm trying to think if I've ever ghosted someone, and I think maybe in my early days of social media, I mean not social media, but dating apps, I probably did, but it's more so like I wasn't just done with the conversation that we're having. I was just done with the app altogether. I'm like, this is not for me. Mm-hmm. I'm an old soul. I like organic, just the way we meet, and I like conversations. I love deep communication, and this app was not giving me that. Somebody will pick up in a conversation we had like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, I thought you ghosted.
Right.
So,
and I think there's levels to ghosting too, because it's like I would hook up with someone, because before I hook up with someone, we have to have a back and forth. There needs to be some type of conversation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But if we hook up and it's just not there, then I will ghost. Like if I'm like the people that I've dated for more than like 3+ months, I wouldn't ghost them. Mm-hmm. Like I would.
Okay.
I wouldn't
some
ghost
time
them.
Has
but
passed.
the people that are pretty like new, those are the ones that I, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, all right, bye. So what do y'all think about open relationships? Because that seems to be like a thing now.
Oh goodness.
It's like, I won't get into mine yet, but I think open relationship is, or my idea about it, but open relationship is like a thing. What do y'all think about it?
At first I was pretty close-minded over open relationships, because I just thought, somebody trying to get their cake and eat it too. But I've definitely changed my mind to meeting people and listening to their stories of dating openly with someone, and there's levels to it, and there's also reasons why. I've also followed a lot of stories on YouTube of people that just felt like monogamy was not for them, and that if they're very honest with the person that they're gonna date and say, I need you to have the same mindset as me, because you will get hurt in this process.
There's going to be somebody that agrees with that same mindset. It's probably just not going to be that person, and that could be fortunate or unfortunate.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't see an open relationship happening. Like, you never know. I might change my mind 5 to 10 years down the line. However, I think that is something that has to be set up prior to you begin a relationship.
Right.
And that is not how I laid the foundation for my relationship.
How would that be brought up then? Like, oh, I'm like other people. Like, when is a good time to bring it up that I'm trying to be in an open relationship?
Exactly.
Like, is it at the beginning, or is it as you've been dating for like 6 months and hey, I'm interested in other people too? Like,
if it's how you feel, then yes, you should bring it up. Definitely.
But when? Like, do you think at the beginning or
anytime? Okay. It's whenever you feel that urge is really something you want to pursue. I think it's very open and like you have to be open and honest with your partner. Yeah. And just let him know this is something I feel very strongly about, and I'm gonna let you know now. And if you're not with it, you can exit stage left.
Because there's many people that will be with it.
Personally, I feel like whatever anyone wants to do in their relationship, they are able to do. They just need to be open and honest in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's necessarily in the beginning to have. That's why me personally, I know the next situation or the next relationship I get in, we're gonna hopefully be talking about everything in the beginning relationship, so expectations could be clear and we can move forward with what we both want out of the relationship. Whatever anyone wants to do in the relationship, it's up to them.
That's your party.
That's your party. Whatever I'm not gonna judge you. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Me personally, I'm not really one for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't necessarily see myself ever being for it, but I mean, I can never say never. Because love is a motherfucker. But what I will say is that's not something that I'm interested in. It's not something that I would like to partake in. But at the same time, and mostly just to give some clarity on what that as well, it's mostly because I'm a little selfish when it comes to the person I'm in love with or that I'm in a relationship with. I don't want to necessarily share or kind of bring anybody into what we have. It's kind of like sacred to me. So I'm a big romantic kind of guy. It's not for me at this point. But I mean, who knows down the line, where my head would be.
When we're 50 years old, like, you know what?
Shut up. Listen, 50 years old, I just hope that I'm in a relationship because you be seeing these 50-year-olds in the club.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
And
50-year-olds gotta get love too.
We gotta wrap it up, but for me, like,
they definitely should have love.
My situationship that I was in was not an open situationship. It was a very inclusive situationship. Because I think there's a difference between being in an open relationship and bringing people into your relationship. Mm-hmm. Open relationships allow, by I guess the general definition, allow the partners to be able to go out and really just date other people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like establish an emotional attachment with other people, right? Mm-hmm. While being inclusive, my situation, we would bring people into our thing. So we would, like, if we see somebody we think they're cute, we'll bring them in. Or we'll go out and find people, bring them in, or we'll go to places where everybody's available and we'll just jump into
So does that limit to like 1 person, 2 people, 5 people?
20, whatever.
Damn,
that was that situation. Before that, and in retrospect, I'm grateful that I had that experience because I was very traditional in the sense of I just wanted to be with one person for the rest of my life. And I still do love him, but I was so much in love with him that I can see now how it's possible to be very much so in love with someone and explore your sexuality in addition to that. Mm-hmm. Brought me a lot of, like, anxiety at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, y'all know I was dealing with anxiety a lot. But now that I'm out of it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, going forward, my relationship, whoever I'm with, has to be open to at least being able to bring someone in as even a voyeur, like a voyager, someone that watches or something, like.
Y'all but Pisces and voyeurs.
Listen, I love to be watched, but I can't be in an open relationship. I can't because I'm an emotional person, so I can't bring myself to be emotionally attached to someone else while I'm in love with you, and I will never allow for you to be attached to someone else emotionally.
Yeah.
You can love their
ass. It's crazy that you said open in 2 different explanations. So you said you don't consider the relationship that you were in or situationship that you were in to be open, but at the same time, you would want to be with somebody that would be open sexually.
Doing sex, exactly.
So it's like you use the same word.
So open-minded versus an open relationship.
No, I totally get that sense, but there's still the word open. Yeah. So you said there was a difference in the beginning between being open and what was the other thing you said? Being open and
just willing, I guess, to allow other people to come into it.
So being open. What was the specific? I've used the difference between being open and
inclusive.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Okay. So being open. Thank you, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So being open and inclusive. Me personally, I that's your explanation, and I'm not saying that necessarily that's wrong. Me personally, I don't think there's too much of a difference. I feel like once you are inclusive in your relationship or inclusive of what you and your partner have. Mm-hmm. That opens the doors for people to do shit. But I personally believe that. I just believe that you can, like, say, for example, I'll give you a prime example. You can be inclusive in your relationship and bring somebody from the outside in, which bringing somebody from the outside in is literally means that there's a door that's open and they're stepping from the outside in.
Not necessarily.
Or there's something that's open. Yeah. So if they come inside into something that you're sharing, for me personally, I feel like it opens up the possibilities for things to, happen.
To blossom from that. Absolutely. And that is a possibility. I mean, I think there's a difference between an emotional attachment and a sexual attachment. Mm-hmm. There is a huge difference between the two. Like, if I were to bring someone in sexually into my bedroom, you're literally a prop. Like, we see you as like a sex doll or something.
You see them as a sex doll. Yeah. Because you are only in control of
I'm only in control of myself. But I mean, I'm giving you an example of what I believe being in an open relationship is versus being inclusive with bringing someone in. An open relationship, you as individuals can go out and date other people. Right? Being inclusive, you both as a collective bring someone in. And I'm speaking strictly sexually.
Okay.
Not like, oh, let's go on a date with this person. Like, let's hang out with this person outside of this. Like, this is literally, we're bringing them sexually. Now, who you are as a person, as individuals, like, that's why you have to establish boundaries. You have to have conversations to understand what the expectations from your partner is going to be. Like, if we're bringing this person in, you should not be talking to this person outside of that. And like I said, you're not in control of what someone else does or what their thought process is. But if you have open communication and dialogue with what you want your relationship to be, then those are established. And then going back to the earlier point of, this is not for me, you'll move forward, or I can deal with this. Let's do this together.
Yeah,
I think open can, I mean, we're wrapping it up, but I think open is a very broad word, but open related to what you're talking to is what's important. So open relationship versus open sexually. Yeah.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that, because I just believe that inclusive and being open, it's kind of like, you could say it's a different thing, but it goes. Would you say that it goes hand in hand?
No.
It would even go hand in hand?
I think it actually, you got to think about it. It depends on the personality. Like, some people can't.
But it depends on a personality. There's two different personalities that you'd have to take into account. Yes,
and that's why the two individuals that are opening up the relationship should have a conversation on their personalities. But
even that conversation can't negate what happens later down the line.
Very true. It's just experimental,
and that's a chance that you're taking. And that's also a chance you're taking when people have open relationships. The people that have open relationships is not only just like he was like, oh, people can have an open relationship and it could be a mental take going on dates and stuff like that, or it can be sex.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in open relationships are literally going out and having sex with people. They're not doing anything.
And that's something that they communicate behind doors.
Yes.
So we have to just take a step back and understand that people that are in these relationships the hope is that they're having transparent conversations with each other, so they can know what are the yeses and nos within that relationship. Right, so it all just depends on the situation.
It's a complicated mess.
It can be, but like I said, I thought I was in that exact mindset that you were in and mind frame that you were in until I experienced what I experienced with the person that I was with. And although the end goal wasn't the desired end goal because of, like I said, it was very complicated, I'm open to it now, and I understand that.
Okay.
Sexually, I don't see myself with just one person for the rest of my life, because that can get very monotonous and boring. Ultimately, I'm thinking, because I plan on living till I'm 97 years old, and I'm only 28.
Wait, what about you? Do you just see yourself with your partner sexually for the?
That's a conversation we're gonna have to have.
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. I think I know I've had little fantasies here and there, because I'm very open. I'm very
come on, keep it real, then.
Right, I'm very open, so I could see it.
Just a conversation I have, but I do know that love trumps all.
True, so and if my partner said hell no, never, I'm fine. Like, what I have right here is good. Exactly. But as an open relationship, bringing somebody else into our, I guess, our situation, it's a no for me because
that's an extra layer of it.
I'm a logical person.
Going into polygamy, right? Yeah. Into bringing people
pretty
much.
I'm a logical person, and when people get emotional, it can make me uncomfortable. But also, it's because I very much suck up people's emotions, and I can't have two people in my household throwing vibes at me. I'd be checking into therapy. I can't do it.
Well, this is a dope conversation as well. So, yes. Please comment.
Let us know.
I'm really interested.
How you feel, or if you have any experiences, or if we said anything that Phil doesn't really explain the situation, because I think some people know more than we do what open means. Please let us know. Educate us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, SlickTalk. Thanks for joining us, y'all. And we will see y'all very soon.
Peace.